Brett Tremblay here, back with another episode of Candid Convos. And today I'm very excited to have as a guest Jonah Zweig. Jonah is a very, he looks young, and at a young age, he's an extremely decorated personal injury attorney in the New York and New Jersey area. Super lawyers, rising stars. He's been named 2 years in a row. He's been selected to America's Top 100 Personal Injury Attorneys for 2020. He either plays the fiddle or violin because he's got some, hanging behind him. But Jonah, thank you so much for joining us today. And that was a quick intro. Will you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Will do, and Brett, thanks for having me. It's a privilege to be here. So as for the violins, my wife actually plays those. I dabble in guitar, certainly not good. Blisters on me fingers, but no real skills. In terms of my practice, we've got a small shop based in New York City. We specialize in personal injury litigation, as well as real estate and general business litigation. And I serve as appellate counsel to a number of firms located across New York. Part of what got me some of the awards that were discussed earlier were some successful appeals that were brought on behalf of other firms and on behalf of our own clients. And so we strive for success at both the trial and appellate levels. And thankfully, we've been able to obtain some of that for our clients.
So this is a dangerous question because I'm also a lawyer, right? So I can say this, but normally when you ask a lawyer to keep an answer short, you get about 10 minutes because we don't talk that much about the law. This is more like the business of law and growing and that kind of thing. But I'm interested on what the issues on appeal were. So again, maybe like a minute or so, like what did you guys appeal and how did you win?
So we've served as named appellate counsel on a handful of appeals, and on others we've just been doing ghostwriting. Some of the issues have involved evidentiary matters concerning what is and is not discoverable, what would be protected, would be privileged. There were standard in motor vehicle claims in New York. New York is a no-fault insurance law state requiring serious injuries. So we litigated at the appellate level whether an injury would be considered a serious injury. We had standard issues of liability in personal injury cases. I've helped assist on appeals in certain medical malpractice cases. So kind of a broad range of damages and liability issues, as well as some evidentiary ones. We worked on an appeal recently, which was successful, concerning other evidentiary matters regarding a promissory note. So firms will reach out with whatever considerations they may have, and we're happy to tackle whatever those matters might be on appeal. And thankfully, we've been successful in both the first and second departments, and we're looking forward to keeping that string of victories going.
So and I know you have some virtual team members now, but that may have been a result of COVID. So tell me about your current team. How many people you have on staff, attorneys and otherwise, and are you guys all working remotely? And was that a result of coronavirus?
So we're currently at a team of about a half a dozen, mixed with attorneys, partners, and support staff. We've always had the functionality to operate remotely and to go where the clients are, go where the matters are. We never wanted to be tethered to desks. That kind of flexibility allowed us to respond to matters while we were in court, to go investigate claims well outside New York City where we're based, and continue working on the move. That flexibility and those logistics allowed us, when COVID unfortunately began, we were able to immediately pivot into leaning fully into our remote systems and our remote setup. And because of that, we haven't lost a single step. We've been fully functional since COVID began. To whatever extent our clients have needed us, we've been there. We have no short-term plan as of now to go back to the more classic in-person operations that existed pre-COVID. We're very COVID conscious. We want to make sure that our clients aren't exposed to anything, that they don't have to come to us, risk the subways, risk a car trip, risk meeting us. We care about our team. We want to make sure that they're healthy, that they're safe. The courts are now in New York either just accepting things on submission or fully virtual. So as much as possible, we're committed to maintaining the same quality of representation virtually as we have in person.
Get Staffed Up is a virtual staffing company, right? All of our people are in other countries. We say you've heard the term offshore, but like near shore is a new term being thrown around because most of our people are out of Latin America, and now we're even in South Africa. So what we argue here is that the because we've been set up obviously since 2018, so pre-coronavirus, right? For better or worse, for our business, it's been amazing because you have people like we argue that the coronavirus pushed virtual and remote working into consciousness and put us ahead a decade, right? Because
Absolutely.
we used to talk about it's okay to have people virtually, when they're down the hall and you don't see them anyway, and you're emailing and chatting like that, that's actually virtual. So, um, we think there's so many law firms now going virtual, and we just really, the world's changed, and I think a lot of attorneys are embracing it.
The court system is certainly benefiting from it as well. Prior to COVID, you're right, things have been pushed up by a decade at least. A lot of appearances that were happening in courts across New York pre COVID, honestly, they didn't really need to be
Oh, they
there.
didn't need it. Absolutely.
Attorneys were showing up to sign a piece of paper, and that was pretty much it. And they'd be waiting for hours to get the most simple, basic discovery conference orders returned to them. I remember the first conference I did in Westchester a bunch of years ago that was virtual. The court reached out to us a week or two in advance of the conference and said, "Hey guys, if there's no discovery disputes, you can work out a step between you, work out an order, fax it to us. If it's all good, we'll sign it and send it back." And it was revelation. It was like, oh my God, we don't have to actually go to the courthouse for these matters that no one's disputing. And that was back in 2016 or 2017, and it seemed revolutionary. And other than that, none of the courts really showed any inclination to shift into these systems. And the fact that COVID has forced that, I don't really see that we're going to move back to the
Yeah.
way things were. And in many ways, for many areas of the law, I think that's a huge improvement.
Going back to staffing, have you guys gone through the process of doing a fully recruiting and hiring remote? Because that's kind of the next frontier, right? There's taking your current staff and just going remote, and then there's okay, but now we have to keep growing and hiring, so now we have to do that whole process. Have you guys had to experience that yet?
Our most recent associate actually was brought on during COVID, fully remote. The interview process was done remotely. The All of the work has been done remote. There have been a few instances where there were particular documents or records or files that needed to be delivered to that associate that were in hard copy. We had them arranged to be delivered, but that associate has never stepped into an office with us. There is something to be said for losing that kind of open door roundtable atmosphere where there is some collaboration that's offered in an office that really is lost in this kind of virtual environment. We do look forward to that time when COVID ends and the world can resume, normal life again. Obviously, where everyone's safe and healthy, we look forward to business resuming as normal and to be able to knock on somebody's door with a quick question or sit down over lunch or coffee and chat about an interesting problem or case that you saw. But for right now, in terms of just efficiency and productivity and capability, we're committed to making sure that COVID doesn't hinder us. And we will expand and continue to grow. We're eyeballing the potential to bring on new associates into new practice areas we might want to, or with new clients and new matters that we might be pursuing. And to the extent that the opportunity is there, COVID's not going to hold us back. We will onboard people virtually. We will train them virtually. We will train them remotely. We will ensure that they have the technology and equipment that they need and that they have the support they need, because you can be isolated working remotely. It's sometimes hard to feel connected. So we have a virtual open door policy, if you will, where always reach out, send a call, shoot a call. We'll set up a Zoom meeting. We'll send an email over, collaborate with us. The support is there. We're trying to keep the morale up. COVID's not going to hold us back.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And being able to knock on an attorney's door and have a quick chat, that's important. You can do that virtually, but it's I think the attorneys, like our strategy is, what do we do with the attorneys and what do we do with the rest of the staff? And we're finding more and more that the rest of the staff, as long as we have virtual team activities and then some other things that we just don't need the space, and doing things virtually now is really the way to go. So opens up a whole new world of opportunities. Jonah, tell us how people could contact you, because this video we send out on our email list, and it goes out to thousands of lawyers.
They can always find us on LinkedIn. We're at the Zweig Law Firm. They can find me on LinkedIn, Jonah Zweig. Our website is zweiglawfirm.com. You can always reach out to us through there. My email is my first initial J, last name Zweig, at zweigpc.com. You could find my phone number on LinkedIn, on the website. My virtual door is always open to those in the firm, to those outside the firm. You can call to discuss a case. You can call to, share your thoughts. You can shoot an email to ask a question. I collaborate with a lot of people in the industry outside of the firm. We just discuss things. Earlier this morning, a good friend of mine in another firm, picked up the phone. They wanted to discuss a particular nuanced discovery issue with me, and we chatted it out for 20 minutes. So anyone who wants, I should say up front, if you're calling about the practice of law outside New York State, I may not have the particular jurisdictional information you might want, but in terms of potential industry perspective, I'm more than happy to chat.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Jonah, thank you so much for your time, man. I mean, you had an open door policy for us, and that's Zweig, not Zweig. I think I messed it up in the beginning, but man,
all good.
Yeah, I'll tell you, thank you, and thank you for your time, and that was a really fun chat. So best of luck.
Likewise, Brett. Thanks for having me on. Real pleasure.
Absolutely. Take care.